The Samoan inclusion in wrestling has been a staple for decades and decades upon us. However, this is not a video about the history of Samoans. This is more so about how currently in WWE, the Samoan dynasty is kind of plaguing booking today. And I think that's about time that we shine a light on. What's good? I'm Wiser. We talk wrestling topics here as well as dabble into reviews. Not too heavy on that. I like to do ideal topics in the wrestling genre. Oftentimes I get ideas from you, the viewer, down in the comment section. So I always appreciate the feedback. Always gets the mind going. So if that's your thing, definitely check out the channel. Subscribe if you like what you see. And all my returning viewers, know what we got to do. We got to shine a light on it. Most people that are new to WWE, I want to say that have probably been watching within the past 7 or 8 years. You may think that this whole Samoan dynasty started with Roman Reigns and the tribal chief and further along the bloodline. However, this thing goes back much further than that. Again, this is not a historic piece, but you know, we go back to the Higher Chief Pia Maivia and all of those guys, right? The Wild Samoans, you get into your Rosies and your, that might be going too far because now we're going to start talking about people that didn't matter. You also got The Rock, and I believe that The Rock was the one that really put Samoa on the map when it came to WWE. Even though they were everywhere, mainly WWE, The Rock put the Samoans on the map. I mean, we had Rikishi, who was running around smacking his behind. We had Umaga, who was just putting his thumb down people's throats. And while that was fine, we had a bit of a lull period when it came to the Samoans. And that's when you enter Roman Reigns, and that's when you enter the Usos. Now, the Usos were a lot more Samoa than Roman Reigns in the beginning. Roman Reigns didn't really start diving into the whole Samoan heritage until COVID. The Usos, they came out wearing all kinds of Samoan reminders, let's say. Now, we didn't really get the idea that they would ever pair Roman Reigns with the Usos, and that's because of how both teams were booked. The Usos were kind of built as fun-loving tag team, happy to be here guys, kind of in the same vein of a Rikishi or Rosie or guys like that. Whereas Roman Reigns was more so built as the guy that they want to carry the company. Now, how they went about it, that's kind of iffy on whatever side of the fence that you're on. However, when we got to that heel Roman Reigns and him finally putting his bloodline over, that's what really put it on the map. And I want to say, I think that they did a masterful piece of work with the early bloodline, especially under Vince's watch. Hey, I'm sorry for all you Triple H lovers, but somebody's got to say. Now, when we got to the hands of the bloodline being in Triple H's hands, it turned a bit comedic. Weird to say that since Vince was the one that loved the comedy shtick. However, in this situation, he was booking the heels correctly. Let's rewind a little bit. When the Usos finally got rid of the colors, got some edge, and got a little hip-hoppy. Now, that's odd because they're Samoan. So you would think that they would be putting Samoan traits on the map. However, they kind of went away from that. They put on the fitteds and they started rapping. If you remember that segment with the New Day, they did some rapping. Even in the intro music, they got their rapping, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Didn't think anything of it, but it did show an edge to them that they were going to need, especially once the bloodline became a thing. Roman came in, he started pounding people out, starting with his cousin Jay, followed by his cousin Jimmy. Jimmy didn't really get his teeth kicked in, but he got a little bit of teeth kicked in. He was all right. So what's the problem, you might ask? Well, the problem kind of started when we got the Bloodline 2.0. Roman is like, all right, we got to do my hiatus. I got shit to do. You got Jay breaking off into main event Jay Uso, and you got Jimmy. Well, I'm starting to think that Rikishi didn't like his other son, because for some reason he only seems to be putting over Jay Uso and his disappointment in his 51 days as champion, You don't really hear him mention Jimmy Uso and how poorly he's being booked. Well, at least I didn't when it came to that. I don't listen to any Rikishi stuff. I typically only listen to, like, if somebody sends me a clip. I never hear him talk about Jimmy. Like, does he fuck with Jimmy? Is Jimmy okay? Somebody let me know if Jimmy's all right. On the topic of Rikishi, it makes me think, does Rikishi want the wrestling business to flourish, or does he just want his Samoans to flourish? And that right there kind of brings us into a bit of a larger problem. Because if he wants the business to flourish, one, why isn't he putting over his son? And two, he also sees that the same problem that he says plagues his Samoans, oh, they're always trying to hold us down. I don't hear him mention that about the black counterpart. Now, this is not to be a racist video. This is not. But when I hear old wrestlers talk about what's going on today, I don't hear anybody, any of the older wrestlers trying to put over the black wrestlers, the black talent that they have, because they have a lot of talented black people. It seems like the only ones that they're willing to push are the women, which is odd to me, because you would think since they have so much black male talent that they could use them more, but no, let's just use the token 3 black women that we have and push them to the moon. But the black guys, good luck getting on TV, dude, even though you are some of the most talented people that we have here. Montez Ford, even though you're some of the most proven talented that we have here in the New Day. Sorry, buds, can't get you on TV. Carmelo Hayes, hey, we're not even gonna take a chance with you. Why don't some of these legends and wrestling vets ever go to bat for the talent like that? Now, granted, I understand in wrestling in general, but more so WWE is a nepotism company. I understand that. I.e., look at Braun Breaker. This guy gets all types of TV time, and I don't really think that he's proving anything. He hasn't proven himself, and he hasn't proven anything with the TV time that he's gotten. I mean, look at what he's doing now. This guy's reduced to barks and spears. It's not about that. It's about the Samoans. So enter Solo Sikoa, and they gave Solo Sikoa the slow burn, right? And now Solo Sikoa is doing great work as a character. My question to that is, why don't certain other people get the same attention and care that a Solo Sikoa got, in which he was able to develop himself to become what he's becoming? Why don't we give that to other talent so that they can do the same thing? Why are we not developing what we have, instead of continuously bringing in all of these people that are 35 years old, 40 years old, 43 years old, and leaning on them? Why do we keep doing that? You can easily bring in people that are in their early 20s, if not 20. Hell, Javon Evans was 19, and he has the talents to become a bona fide superstar. Yet you won't see that happen. You got somebody like Jacob Fatu, skip the line. JC Mateo, skip the line. While we have Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans, and just so that we're not racist, Tony D'Angelo floundering in NXT. For what? We see the talent. We see what's there. It's undeniable. These people are better than what they've been bringing in. But they got to prove themselves though, right? Did JC Mateo have to prove himself? Did Jacob Fatu have to prove himself? Not saying that JC Mateo, he can get the fuck out of here. Not saying that Jacob Fatu's bad. No, he didn't have to prove himself, and he shouldn't have to prove himself because his work was already on the plate. Ricky Saints, why did he have to prove himself? Oh wait, he's kind of black too. But why did he have to prove himself? Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Obafemi, Tony D'Angelo, these guys should already be up, and there should be some sort of rocket that should be attached to their back, and they should be on the ascend. But let's go back to Jacob Fatu, because there was always something that was a little off with me about Jacob Fatu. See, I've seen clips of him in MLW and on the indie circuit. I've seen Jacob Fatu in Reality of Wrestling, where Booker T's promotion. I've seen it. I've seen him cut promos, and to me, he kept it street, but he kept it Samoa. Now, in WWE, he's reduced. If you look at his work on the indies, the guy could cut a promo like none other. You see him in WWE, he's reduced to 2 and 3 catchphrases, and that's all he says. It's almost like they book him to be retarded in the mind, but he can wrestle his ass off. It's weird how that works. But attached to that is, this is the part that threw me off. Attached to that is this thug image that they gave Jacob Fatu. Now, that's kind of always been his thing a little bit, like kind of rough around the edges. But like I said, he kept it Samoa. But now it feels like he's black. Okay, all right, cool. You feel like let's rewind back to the Usos. Remember when they came out with all of Samoa, all of the traditional shit, all of the traditional chants and all of that? What did they do? They dropped that. They got hip hop. They started rapping. They got over. Wait, hip hop is largely considered black. Well, that's interesting. Roman Reigns is just straightforward, just a regular guy. No, just the way he carries himself, his aura, his presentation. It's not Samoa. Have Samoans taken the identity of what could be used for certain other wrestlers? This bloodline angle, these bloodline characters, we have New Day who come out as nerds and weirdos. Interesting. We have the Street Profits who used to come out with their solo cups. Okay, I'll give you black there. See, Street Profits stayed to their black, but for some reason black didn't work for the Street Profits. However, black works for Samoans. Why doesn't Samoa works for Samoans? Why can't we get the Samoans over on being Samoa? Did it not work when they tried it? Does it ever work when they try it? I'm okay with all of this. However, the problem that I have with the Samoans and why I think that they're starting to become a bit of a detriment to WWE is because it seems like WWE puts all of their love and care into the Samoan storyline. Is there fear in Rikishi or something? Why aren't the Samoans treated just like everybody else? And by everybody else, I literally mean everybody else. You can throw LA Knight in there. You can throw Andrade in there. You can throw Phoenix in there. You can throw the I almost said the Colognes, different team. Berto, Los Eger, but not, wait, no, different company. Sorry again. What's the name of the team? Berto and Angel. I am struggling with that. Jeez, I shouldn't be, but I am struggling with that. But Angel and Berto, why can't the Samoans be built like them? Oh, because they got over. Why? How'd they get over? How'd they get over? Let's take black out of it. If they got over because of the love and care that was put into their booking, why can't that be put into other people's booking? Same with Judgment Day. Why can't that love, care, and TV time be put into other people in which they can capitalize on it? Why? Look at how certain groups are treated on TV versus other certain groups. And I'm not pinpointing any particular groups, but whatever group it is that comes to your mind, think of that group, think of another group, and then think of the Samoans. Think of one group, think of another group, and think of Judgment Day. Think of one group and another group and Seth Rollins. One group, another group, and CM Punk. Just think about it like that. I'll even go as far as to say, why can't, and this probably deserves its own other video, but why can't Drew McIntyre get the love and support and booking that the Samoans get? See, like I said, this isn't a race. I'm not making this a race thing, even though the Samoans are very hip-hoppy, very street thuggy. And I'm not saying that black equals street thug, but you get where they're going with it. It's a trope. It's how they see black. Fuck, I made this shit racist. I hope you guys get my point. The overarching point that I'm trying to make here about the Samoans is they're not getting over on their own heritage and traditions. They're getting over by cosplaying another set or group of people. Not only that, but the nepotism of Samoa has infiltrated WWE largely. Now we have people in these spots that don't belong. Taller Tonga, JC Mutombo. I was gonna say Gorillas of Destiny, but no, they come on. They definitely deserve to be there. I just think that it's fucked up that they get these chances completely unproven while others don't get the same chance. And now it just feels like WWE is a Samoan brand. I hope I got my point across. I hope nothing was lost in translation here.